I'm certain that the geysers will tell the story. When Old Faithful doesn't start going off when it should, I think signs like that will happen. But I could also be wrong. And it's really cool. We can wander our way over, because this is Wandering Ways.
What's Bigfoot possibility? Ready?
Clink.
Clink.
Good evening, my pal. How are you? How is the world? How is all the beautiful things in it?
Perfect and getting better, my man. How are you today?
I'm great. I was able to get out into good old Mother Nature as always. I just, if I'm not working, I'm out there on a lake. I'm out there in the kayak. I'm out there hiking, enjoying it, checking it all out, seeing a waterfall. Hey, trying to have a Bigfoot. And something interesting that I haven't told you yet that I was kind of waiting as a surprise is Matt Buddy swears he had a Bigfoot encounter in Olympic National Park this last week.
And no way.
I just had to drop that on you. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
Right?
We should have him on. And
yes.
Have him talk about it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. He said, yeah, man, I think so. Because we were in the area.
Oh. That's No, we're gonna have to get Matt Buddy on for a third time. It'll be Matt Buddy's third time.
It might even be his fourth.
Oh yeah, I think it is his fourth actually.
Yeah, but
a recurring theme.
Well, if for our guests that don't understand, is he actually invites himself on. This last trip he did by himself with some of his friends. He's like, yeah. Zach, I think, you could have me on the podcast with Mark in a couple weeks and we'll just talk about this trip. It was really fun. I had a Bigfoot encounter and I was just like, okay, sure. I mean, why not, buddy? Why not?
Yeah, I mean, if you had a Bigfoot encounter, for sure. That's almost like a must. Damn.
Right?
That is. Oh, yeah, no. So,
but
because Matt Buddy will be on.
But speaking of our friends in nature, we talked about not too long ago our wish list trips, some of the top 5 places we want to go that we need your help by clicking the subscribe button, emailing us at wanderingways.com, telling us what you want to hear about our adventures in nature, telling your friends, telling grandma, telling mom, telling dad, hey, we want to get an RV together and listen to Wandering Ways the whole way down. We want that. One of our great guests, Calman, gave us his top 5. And, hey, we asked for it. He delivered. You guys can deliver too. Email us at wanderingwayspodcast@gmail.com. WANDERINGWAYSPODCAST@gmail.com. You can just rewind on your phone and replay that if you didn't get it all down.
If you're listening, it's Wandering Ways Podcast @gmail.com.
Right.
But in case you guys don't know, remember Calman, he is the everyday backpacker, good friend of the brand and a fellow wanderer. But he sent us his top 5 wish list adventures. So we thought we would share them with you guys today. Because, who doesn't love a good wish list?
Well, and what I like about this is this is another fellow hiker of ours who loves getting outdoors. You heard his story when we interviewed him. If you haven't heard that one yet, go check it out because it's really good. We're listening, we're learning from each other. You hear like, wow, I just got back from Iceland. It was this amazing. Well, now I want to go,
Yep.
And you hear those adventures. And when you have a fellow adventurer telling us, well, I want to do these things, well, we got to share it. But his number 5, which is something, since we're out that way, he might be able to come on down possibly. And we could dual collab Everyday Backpacker Wandering Ways just for you guys, the fans. is he wants to take a trip out to the Washington, Oregon coast and see some of the beauties out there.
Ooh, yeah. No, shoot. Have him bring him out. Let's we'll show him oh, I don't know. What would you want to Olympic? That's always a classic.
Well, he was a fellow, he was Clark at Pompey's Pillar. You'd probably want to check out Fort Clatsop right there in your neck of the woods. Well,
That's true.
where your birthplace.
Yeah. That's true too. A little Fort Clatsop action.
Thor's Well.
The Peter Iredale's, the ship that's on the beach. That's always a fun one. Thor's Wells, awesome.
Haystack Butte.
Yeah, shoot. There's
The Sea
Devil's
Caves.
Punch Bowl. And I mean, if you're really ambitious, just scoot on down, see the redwoods.
I mean, I think he is, so we might have to convince him to do that too.
Yeah, dude. There's a lot of cool stuff up here. I think he would like the Olympics the best.
I do too, especially because I know he's a mountain guy. He loves those Beartooth Mountains, and his channel's a lot of him hiking in the Beartooths and in the crazy mountains out here in Montana, which, they're kind of crazy.
Yeah. But I mean, you can go and you can do some real cool backcountry stuff on the coast up in the Olympics.
Yeah.
You can camp right on the beach. You can camp on the beach a lot of places along the whole coast. But like Olympics, like you can be like on the beach, which is always a delight. So,
well, and Matt, buddy, that's actually where his last trip was up into the Olympics. And he was telling me, man, about Hurricane Ridge up there and being able to be like, you're in the mountains and you can see the ocean. He's like, it doesn't feel right, but it's cool.
Yeah, Hurricane Ridge is cool. It was a bummer we couldn't do it when we had all that ice, but
we had a different type of fun.
Yeah, well, shoot, yeah. No, Olympics amazing. But anyways, continue with Calvin's top 5.
Right? That was only number 5, and look how we got going on it. But 4, and this is one that I kind of was interested in, and because I grew up in New Mexico, the Southwest, the desert, I'm always like, I love the heat. I love the desert. There's just something unique about it. But he wants to do the Arizona Trail. And I'm not too familiar about that, but I love the desert. So
yeah, I'm not too familiar with the Arizona Trail either. That's interesting. That's a track, or that's a mission because it's the desert. I do like the desert, but I don't like it as much as you.
I was born in it.
Yeah, I mean that helps,
right?
I like trees. I'm a tree hugger.
So. Cactuses are just trees you can't hug.
Yeah, see, I want to be able to hug my trees.
Well, and then his number 3, which kind of fell in line with my list. I know you've talked about this place and you kind of were jealous when I threw it down, but is Nepal and Tibet for Kalman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's just a given, right? Like, it's beautiful. The Himalayas, the monks, the flags, the locals, all of it.
I was just looking at some stuff. I've talked about this guy before, that guy on Instagram, Colin O'Brady.
Yep.
He's right now doing a thing. He's going to do, I guess, Everest. There's Everest, and then there's another mountain close. I'm going to butcher the name, so I'm not even going to really try, but it's like a Lhoste is how it's spelled, something like that.
A Lost Mountain.
No, it's not lost. It's there. Everyone knows about it.
I don't know.
Go peak to peak, though. Yeah, and I guess people do it all the time, but he's going to try and do it. He's working on it right now, but he's going to try and do Everest Peak to this other peak without supplemental oxygen. So he's going to try and do it as quickly as he can. I think the record without supplemental oxygen is like 6 days to do this peak to peak. So, Nepal and the Himalayas would be phenomenal.
Like you said, even just to go up to base camp or just in the area. I mean, I bet you I'm down for that.
Yeah, me too. Oh, that'd be amazing.
And this one's another one. I'm not familiar with the trail, but I am familiar with the park, and I really want to spend some more time in this park. And I'm glad I'm pushing myself to get a house out there in Oregon because it'll cause me to do this. But he wants to hike the Wanderland Trail around Mount Rainier. Um, and if you see some of the pictures from Mount Rainier, there are some beautiful lakes and valleys and streams that it's got. So
Mount Rainier is a cool place. I've been to the national park, Mount Rainier National Park, and it was really cool. We didn't do a whole lot because we were just driving through. We decided to just drive through it. So we stopped at the visitor center, of course, and we did like a small kind of little loop hike. Nothing fancy, but just kind of checked the area out, stopped, tested the water because we tested the water at like every national park that we went to that trip. And then we went on our way. But it's gorgeous. Rainier is
yeah.
gorgeous.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've seen some of the pictures of like that, the North Cascades, the Olympics,
Yeah.
and like when you really spend some time in them and get into the backcountry, there's some beautiful spots, which
Rainier
I'm
would
all
be
about.
cool to do some backcountry. Rainier would be cool to climb too.
Yeah, let's plan it. Let's just sign up. Sign me up. His number one though, and this is a good one, and I could see you doing this one too, just because you are one of them coasties out there on the West Coast. But he wants to through hike the Pacific Crest Trail.
Oh, yeah, classic. The
Yeah,
classic PCT, man. I would totally do the PCT. That'd be a lot of fun. Um, I've been on sections of it, not on purpose. Like I didn't set out to be on, but the PCT because it's so long. Like I was on it just the other day here in Ashland. I went on to like a little trail run, and part of it was PCT. Um, and then when I've done Ramona Falls up near Mount Hood, got on part of the PCT. So that's a mission though, man. Doing the PCT.
yeah, but I think he wants to through hike it, so I think that's doing
That's why
sections
it's a
at
mission.
sections at a time. But I'm excited. I'm curious to ask him if he's actually accomplished parts of it at least. Just to hear.
Yeah.
Another crazy one. I'm curious if you would be interested in ever doing is the Continental Divide Trail that people do right down the backbone of the Rockies in America. I feel like you would be about that.
Yeah, I mean any of those through hikes I would consider. If I get enough time off, 100% would.
Cool.
It's a mission.
Yeah, and planning.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot of moving pieces to it, from planning to getting the time off to then doing it.
Yeah,
So,
and cost.
yeah. But oh man, it would be worth it to do any of those.
Yeah.
I've watched so many YouTube videos of people doing the Pacific Crest Trail.
Well, do it. You're right there. You could do it a lot easier than because of where you're at.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I can't remember the way you're supposed to go. I think you're supposed to go north, south to north.
Really?
Yeah, and it has to do with like how you can cross the border and stuff.
Oh yes, when you go into the other countries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think you have to end up in Canada. I'm not 100% sure on that though. So
I've heard. I want to say the Continental Divide might be the opposite, where you
go
start
north,
north.
south.
Yeah. Because I want to say I had a friend that tried biking it, and they only made it to Butte from Canada. They were having a struggle, and it's a trek, like you said, it's a mission.
North to south, that would be, I think, harder to do on either one of those trails, because at least the way I'm thinking about it, I wouldn't want to be in the desert at the hottest time of the year. I'd want to go when it's a wee bit cooler in the desert, so that way I'm not like freaking roasted. Just bust out the desert while it's like cold, and then that way when I get farther north, that's when it starts to heat up more, so the temperature's more even-esque throughout it all.
I would argue that you could do the north to south if you're doing weather based on fall, late summer up north to fall
Yeah,
down
but
south.
oh man, I don't know if you would want to do the freezing cold temperatures of the desert either.
I don't. You got to do some thinking and planning and scheduling, everybody.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I think it would be like if you're at least again how I'm thinking weather wise, because the desert's the harshest weather. It's either extremely cold or it's extremely fucking hot.
You're not wrong about that. You just got to make sure you're hitting it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get that too. I get what you're saying. Like start south early, like May,
Yeah, May,
even
maybe even like
April.
yeah, April. Bust
Yeah,
out. Shoot, I'd even push March because
yeah,
it'd be like comfy down there right now. You just kind of casually comfier way up north. Then by the time you know you get up to north, it's a little bit warmer. So it's like now you're in the mountains and it's like nice and nice.
yeah. No, I feel you, man. I mean, thanks, Calvin, for giving us that to talk about. I mean, that was really great. You guys can check him out on YouTube, Everyday Backpacker.
I got his Instagram too.
Yeah, and did you see his last episode about planning, Mark?
I did. It's a good one. Him his planning episode. He puts out good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not just saying that because he's a friend of the brand. Like just in general, he does put out some good stuff.
Well, I'm just the reason I ask is because if you saw the sweatshirt he was wearing, he's actually one of the awesome fans that went to the Teespring that Mark set up and bought one of the sweatshirts to wear. And he says it's one of the comfiest ones yet that he owns. So I love it. It looked good. He was wearing it in his last episode. So thank you for that. Give
If
him
you
a
like that
follow.
sweatshirt, make sure to check out the Teespring link below. But
Right?
link in the bio and everything. There's stuff on their sweatshirts, shirts, of the album cover or the like wandering like Bigfoot. You can even get some socks. So like,
I love that. Like I noticed I listened to the commercial about that and you even referenced the socks on that. Like you got to think for socks there, bud.
actually, I don't. I actually prefer to not wear socks at all.
Oh, that's funny.
I've been going barefoot a lot more, so I don't even wear shoes that often
So
anymore.
it's more of a shock. Like, what? We're on socks too.
Well, yeah, that it's something you wouldn't see, and also the album cover doesn't look too bad on socks. So,
Yeah,
um,
I like it. The album cover's fun. The Wandering Bigfoot's also pretty cool if you're into that. That's kind of what we use on our YouTube. If
yeah.
you're watching our videos live, you'll see that one on the YouTube page. You'll see the album cover on the Spotify,
Mhm.
iTunes, and other podcast platforms. But
If you want stickers of them, hit me up on the Instagram at Reverend Marcus, and I'll shoot you some
yeah,
because I got stickers.
he's got stickers for days, everybody. So does everyone in my family. You're welcome.
Yeah.
No, I love it. But yeah, I'm excited because we got a good episode in store today for everyone.
Yeah, now to the bulk of the episode today. We're gonna do ourselves another breakdown of a park. We got ourselves another Wandering Ways breakdown. We're gonna go. We did Glacier National Park a couple weeks ago, and now we are gonna do the other fairly popular park for us to go to, the Yellowstone National Park.
That's right. The America's first national park. The place that we call home to the Lamar Valley, Old Faithful, Yellowstone Lake, the super volcano that could end the world.
Yeah.
Just this awesome, great place that is only like 200 miles away from my front door. I love it.
Yeah. So we will be jumping into a awesome breakdown. Hello, my wanderers. Before we get going with this episode of the podcast, I do just want to remind you guys to check out our other social medias, the YouTube, the Instagram, the Teespring to get that swag. Make sure to check us out individually. Zach Gray of Quartz Lake, Zach Gray, the Rougarou. Make sure you check out myself, Reverend Marcus, all that fun stuff. The links are below in the bio. All you got to do is click that bio, look for it, boom, you're on your way. Make sure if you guys want to be part of the podcast or questions to be heard on the podcast, email us at wanderingwayspodcast@gmail.com or quartzlakeproductions@gmail.com. We love the feedback. We love the input. All of it is amazing. And we love you guys for listening. It's awesome. So let's keep wandering on. But before we do start the breakdown of the of Yellowstone National Park, I want to show you a video because we're going to start a new segment here on the Wandering Ways podcast of just cool shit that happens in nature. It's wonderful nature, wonderful ways of experiencing nature. I don't know. We haven't come up with a true name for it yet.
I mean, I love wonderful nature or cool shit that happens in nature. So
so
we'll let you guys be the judge. Go ahead and shoot us a message or something. Tell us what you like. Because
wonderful things in nature, cool shit that happens in nature. Anyways, where I'm gonna show you. I haven't shown Zach this. We're gonna find each other videos and not show each other until of. So, but this is right here. It's a glacier or a glacier that breaks off, and how it works when it falls off the cliff, it falls into the water, and because ice and water are different densities, they go shooting, it comes shooting back up. Mm-hmm. And so this is like a tower of a glacier. There's like a boat in the video here to like scale it, and it is just like, holy shit.
Well, I think what's crazy is it falls off, and it's the glacier itself is probably, I mean, I can't tell. I mean, I want to say it's as big.
Oh, shoot. It's like, I don't know. It's huge, though.
Yeah, like it looks like it's as big as the boat when it first is coming out of the water, I would say. And it's like 30 times its size at one point. It looks like almost like it gets big.
It looks like a skyscraper.
Yeah, just the way it rises out of the mountain. Oh my gosh. I mean, that's cool.
The one thing, it's cool shit that happens in nature.
Right?
The one thing I really wish we could see in that video, or they show in the video, which they don't, they stop it before, is I want to see the wave it makes hit that boat.
Right, because that helps you give a little bit of judgment too of like the force that these things have. Because we don't think of that necessarily sometimes when nature occurrences happen, because when you're looking at a mountain and a boulder, that boulder looks smaller when it's further away, but it's like when that falls, like what it can cause and what it could lead to. And
I know, but that I'm imagining it's just a giant wave and that boat is just getting taken for a ride.
Most likely is, yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. No, that wouldn't be a lot of fun to do.
No, I wouldn't want to be the captain.
No, not at all. Not at all. But yeah, that's our little break in the action today, just to transition into the now breakdown of Yellowstone National Park.
Yeah, I'm excited. Are you?
I am too. I'm excited. I think it's your favorite park.
It is. It's up there. I mean, it is. I proposed to Thea in it. It's so close to home. I visit it as much as I can. There's just so much about it, from the wildlife to the natural features to the outdoor activities to just everything that it's for. You could be a backpacker and be all about it. You could be a family going to national parks for your first time and be all about it. And that's what I love about it. It's fun for everyone. It's big enough for everyone. It has a lot of cool shit. I've been there in the winter, the summer, the spring, the fall. I've got to witness a lot of stuff, from bears to wolves to, elk and rut, antelope making love, and everything in between in that park.
Yeah, that is the nice thing about it. About Yellowstone is it's a good starter park. You know, if you're wanting to get into the national parks, if you're wanting to get into outdoor activities, outdoor adventures, you want to learn about nature and the outdoors and all of that, or geothermal, especially there. Um, Yellowstone's kind of the place to start for that beginner. Um, it's it's got a lot to offer there. You know, it's got the geysers, the hot pots. Um, shoot, fuck, it's got a lake. It's got a lake. It's got mountains. It's got valleys. It's kind of got it all. To be fair.
In a sense, it does, and I think that that's kind of why it became our first park, our first national park in Teddy Roosevelt. When he declared that, he was a lover of the parks. There's a lodge named after him there. Teddy's Bear, Teddy Bear.
Yeah.
What I like too is they encourage all ages in this park. There's things to do for all ages and all sources of income as well. If you're bougie and you want to stay at the Old Faithful Lodge, it is quite spendy to actually stay in some of those nicer rooms that view Old Faithful. Um, there's the Lake Lodge, the Lodge in Mammoth, things like that, which are nice. But it's the diversity of it. When you walk into the park, one of the first things you could do is ask for the scavenger hunt for your kids to look for the animals in the park.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, it really anybody can go, if you're like that family that, you maybe not don't have the funds to do anything special. The campsites in Yellowstone and most national parks are super cheap when compared to other campsites. So it's like, shoot, why not? They do fill up crazy fast. All of Yellowstone fills up crazy fast. So if you are wanting to do a lodge, if you're wanting to do a cabin, if you're wanting to do the campsites, if you're wanting to do everything in Yellowstone, they fill up like that. It's like crazy, and that's because there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that go to Yellowstone. Um, it's probably the biggest con of Yellowstone is the people because
yeah,
I mean, it's a lot of people.
especially July, August, man, right there. That's the heart of tourist season. I mean, it's beautiful weather. That's when, the summer weather out here is the best. You're not, there's chances, the June chances of snow, the September chances of snow aren't there necessarily as much because you are up high in elevation. There's places around the park to stay that are cheap campgrounds, KOAs, other hotels in some of the towns. Bozeman's not too far, Cody's not too far. But just know that it is one that if you're going to look to do that kind of stuff, you are going to have to plan, and not the week of, not even a week before, maybe 2 months before. I would recommend even just because
Yeah.
things do fill up quick.
Yeah. And they do have like some day of campsite reservations. But again, if you're going to do that route, you're going to have to get up early and you're going to have to be in line because I mean, they fill up real quick. So,
Yeah, the first come first serve campground spaces. I mean, you're lucky. Like me, Matt, Thea did it in early April one year, and we were able to get a first come first serve right there at the Madison Junction campground. And I mean, it was good because there wasn't a lot of people in the park, but it's also one of those places where come July, that first come first serve campground, you got to be there at 8 a.m. as the people in front of you are moving out. We've done that in Glacier for campsites before because that's how just crazy some
yeah.
of those places are for those first come first serve spaces.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good tip for any national park if you're going to do the first come first serve. Cuz I even ran into that when with Zion with me and Vince. First time I went to Zion, we had to I mean, we got there super early anyway, so we're like, shoot, let's get this campsite. But yeah, if you're doing a first come first serve campsite in a national park, you better be an early bird.
Well, one thing I like about that, and you point out a good point with Zion, because we looked at Bryce Canyon too when we went to Bryce one time, and we actually ended up staying in the campground that is a private campground outside of Bryce Canyon National Park, and that there is a little bit more of a fee hike when you get into those private campgrounds, your KOAs and campgrounds outside of the park. If you're staying in places like BLM land, National Forest land, it might be a little bit cheaper even. You just have to be knowing what you're looking for, knowing what you're doing. You know, if you're in an RV, you also have to look for RV spots. If you're doing that kind of stuff, if you're tent, whatnot, it's a lot to plan.
It is, but it's worth it.
Oh,
You
100%.
know, if you can get in the park, that helps because my next tip for this park, which I've already mentioned it for getting the campsites, I would recommend waking up and starting your day early, um, because of the people and the traffic. You run into traffic in Yellowstone Park like crazy, especially once those big tour buses get going. It's like you could it would put LA up there in the competition of worst traffic, LA or Yellowstone with those tour buses peak season.
Well, and what I like about it is because it's it's a two-lane road, one lane going that way, one lane going this way, and sometimes you get a bison herd that will sit on the road for 2 hours, 3 hours,
Yep.
um, and that'll throw a wrench in people's plans.
Yep.
You'll stop for a bear, and your car will be kind of jammed in because all the dumb tourists are not looking around, and you got parked in by all these other cars. So there's just a lot of things you need to consider and be considerate about when you're in the parks. Look around. You're not the only one there. But like you said, get up early. It's also a really good time to see animals in the park because there's not a lot of people out. Think about if a lot of people started standing outside your house and just were looking in. What would you do? You would kind of close the shades. You would hide. You wouldn't like it. Well, animals do the same, and I've seen it with bears in this park, right? Sometimes the best encounters I've had is when it's me and just a few other people. Whereas the more and more people show up, I notice the bear starts walking away further and further and further from the group. They go into the bushes, stuff like that, because they don't want to be bothered. It's their home. They're looking for bugs or food. It's just some things to think about in the
Yep.
park.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's another perk of getting up early. Um, you know, another perk of getting up early is golden hour for all those pictures if you're a photographer. Catching a nice sunrise or even a sunset at like Grand Prismatic or Old Faithful or Lamar Valley or Mammoth, shoot.
I love that you're saying all these places and you're saying sunset, sunrises, and I'm like, I'm thanking the creator today. Like, man, I've been able to experience both sunrises, sunsets, and all these places you're naming. And no matter where you're at in the park, they're just so special and so beautiful and spectacular. And not one is like the one before it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
You know where I think a really cool spot um, to get a sunrise or even a sunset, I think. A sunset might actually be better due to where the sun is for this one, but that Grand Prismatic Overlook, if you could get up there.
Yes, I definitely think that would be beautiful. The sunset kind of sets that where that look is, because that is kind of, I think it's
Well, it's
south.
behind you, so you don't necessarily have that sun looking like in your eyes.
Yeah, I've got to experience one down on the boardwalk before looking up, and it was really beautiful over the colors.
Yeah.
Uh, for a picture, yeah, you would need to know what you're doing with the lighting and the settings on your camera and all that. But for the naked eye and experiencing it, it was with me, Matt, and Thea that time, and there was
Oh, I bet.
nobody out there. And then I also had one time with Alexa, we were able to go out there and during sunset, and it was in the summer, and it was another one where everyone's like, hey, it's dinner time at 5 or 6 in the places that serve dinner in the park, and Grand Prismatic isn't one of those places. So
Yeah.
we were able to get some alone time there, which is really cool because when you're able to spend time in these places, where there's not a lot of people, yeah, there's always little bit groups here and there, or one or two people. That's fine. Um, but like Grand Prismatic, I've been there on the boardwalk where you're walking like this because people are shoving into you. Um,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, it can get real crazy packed. And it's nuts like where the how the crowds just like gather in zones. And the best example of it, and this is my tip, my secret tip for anybody that is listening and goes to Old Faithful. And you don't want to deal with all of those crazy tourists all jam packed right there on the boardwalk watching Old Faithful, and you kind of just want to get. You're still going to run into some people, but like not nearly as many. Just follow the trail around Old Faithful. You don't even have to go that far. You really don't have to go far at all.
no, I love it because that's almost like your go-to when we go to Old Faithful. You love going that back loop.
Yeah.
So if you're not familiar with the area, Old Faithful has a lot of benches for people to sit on and wait because Old Faithful is not on a stopwatch. It goes off approximately every 90 minutes, give or take 10. It's based on how long the eruption lasts. Um, and the time before it, and they have their weird math to kind of figure it out. It's within a 10-minute window. It is really cool to watch, but all the people line up on the boardwalk, like you said. And if you
It's
walk
so
around to the
great.
back side where the water from Old Faithful kind of drains out into the river, there's a path because there's other geysers you can go see and hike to. And not, it's single file sitting around that, not even complete most of the time.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, elbow room, 360 elbow room, uh, when you go around that corner. It is crazy. It is crazy to me because it's in reality, it's not even, it's not even a quarter of a mile.
No, not even. It's
Yeah.
the
It's like
other
maybe
side.
0.1 mile of
Yeah.
a little walk. And you're like, bam, you have all this room. So it's like, it blows my mind how people don't like spread out.
I think the difference is when people are looking sometimes for their shot, they don't want the lodges in the background of their shot, their camera shot of Old Faithful. The plus to the benches is you have the hills behind you and the nature versus versus the building.
True. I can see
But
it.
Old Faithful's cool regardless. I've
Yeah.
got to experience it from all around different angles of how many times I've seen it. We were able to be at the bench area when I proposed to Thea, and really, I mean, it was later in the day, probably like 7 o'clock at night, and the light was, the sun had already set, but there's still enough light out, and
Yeah.
we were there, and there was other people, but not a lot. We had our own bench section to ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. I
That was
mean, you go
also
at the right time, that crazy area is not packed either. So,
right. That
yeah.
was also early May, I believe, when we did that.
Yeah. It was like early May. Um, Early May. But yeah, that's getting up early, going to see the geyser. All of the spots, you'll be better off early or even late when people go to dinner. Um, but let's say you don't want to do like your own thing. There are tons of tours there in Yellowstone. The
Oh,
classic yellow bus tours. Um, there's tours at each of the visitor centers type stuff. Like there's tons of tours and stuff you can do in Yellowstone as well if you don't want to do like your own thing.
well, and then ranger guided activities throughout the day. They have that Yellowstone newspaper, which shows you like what times in the park and at the different locations when rangers will be giving their speeches or talks. The visitor center also has those videos that they dive into things, as well as the private tours outside the company or outside the company, outside the park. Like Yellowstone Forever. I know that like down in West Yellowstone, there's other places down there that are good that give out great tours if you're into that. You know, in the winter too. You want to snowmobile in or snow coach in?
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, no, it's super fun too. You can in the winter especially, you can get like the snowmobile tour, or you can get like a bus tour type deal. Go check it out in the snow, which is super cool. But the tours, it's really hard not to do the tour if that's your like like going on the tours, having people talk about it and all that. That's always fun. And then the free ones at all the different like ranger guided stuff at all the different visitor centers. So you could make a whole day of just hitting the visitor centers doing the guided tours there, and you could have blast because each of those visitor centers are so different.
Yeah, no, you're right. Like if you're into the volcanoes, you're into geothermal, you're into the animals, you're into
Yeah.
uh, just a little bit of everything. They got it for you.
Yeah, you're into the geysers, you're into um, the history of the area. You could just at all the different visitor centers, because they are different, and there's so many of them too. Because I
I,
mean, it is a big park.
I do like that. And there's even like the Norris Geyser Visitor Center, which is more specific to the Norris Geyser Basin area. It's not as big and it's not really open as long as the other ones, but it's really cool.
Yeah,
I mean, I like them all. You meet cool rangers because the one thing I do like, we've been able to interview quite a few park rangers on here, is all rangers I've met love their job because
yep,
that's
yep,
what they wanted to do.
yep, yep.
So it's
I
fun,
I love park rangers. They're my favorite people out there.
right?
Yeah. I have a blast with park rangers. When I see them on hikes, I always make sure to chat them up a bit. You never know what you're going to find out.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I love it. It's great. They're, and that's their passion when they're giving those ranger talks. A lot of the time, the guy talking about rocks is because he loves rocks or birds or that, and you're learning from them. They are the experts. They've spent years of learning and studying and sitting out in the wilderness trying to understand these things, so that they have something to tell. Plus, they go from park to park and learn about the other parks and the geologies and compare them and contrast them. And it's really cool.
Yeah. No, 100%. Other things, obviously, like with most of these parks, the hiking is pretty popular activity to do, and Yellowstone does not disappoint. Whether you're not the most able person to do things, Yellowstone has options for you. Or if you're the crazy, like want to go live with just like a handkerchief off in the woods, don't recommend it, but you can do that there at the backcountry stuff at Yellowstone. So super like awesome for hikes. I always typically recommend doing the Grand Prismatic Overlook, um, just because you get to look down at it at Grand Prismatic. You should do the boardwalks at Grand Prismatic too, but I think the Overlook is cool because you really get to get the feel of it.
Well, and I believe the boardwalks you could even access by like electrical wheelchair or some even
Yeah,
stronger wheelchairs. Because of the way the boardwalks are built and the ramps are built in some of those areas. Yeah, there's some with steps. You're out in nature, so nature builds a boulder. You got to get over the boulder somehow.
right.
And some of the areas are more remote than others, but in the developed areas like Old Faithful, Grand Prismatic, around the lake, there's definitely places for like everyone that's easy to walk, easy to hike. But then there's also, hey, I'm gonna go up in the Lamar Valley and do a backcountry hike and carry bear spray and be careful because that's what you got to do too. And that's what's so awesome about this park is it's got it all.
Yep. Yep. No, that's 100%. Yeah, no. Carry your bear spray. I mean, there was like literally a story either
Yeah.
like today or yesterday about a guy getting killed by a grizzly bear backcountry.
I
So
think it came out. Well, he died recently. The mauling happened last week, and then they finally caught the bear, killed the bear, and then the guy died in the like ICU.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
he
it's
was a
sad.
backcountry guide for Yellowstone, so it's like, damn,
Yeah.
bears are a real thing. You,
Well, and here's my cup of tea on the situation is a lot of bear human incidents happen early in the year when they're coming out of the dens, when they're hungry, they're looking for food, they're looking for new food. The cubs are young, um, all that kind of stuff. So and I always say this: if a bear ever kills me in the wilderness, let the bear live, because I most likely was doing something wrong in that bear's eyes. I got between it and its cubs. I made it feel threatened. Very, very rarely, 1% of cases are most likely a bear is just out for blood.
yeah,
Um, the rest is they were startled, because bears, yes, they're aggressive animals, but they're also scavengers. They're going to let the wolf kill the elk for them, and they're going to go take over the elk and finish eating it because they didn't have to do the hard work. Yes, they could take a elk down if they wanted, but at the same time, they don't necessarily have to. And they eat a lot of bugs and berries and things that are natural. They don't just eat meat. And I think most likely humans are in the wrong. I mean, what's interesting in this case is I did hear stories where he supposedly did deploy his bear spray and the bear didn't go away.
oh damn,
Which is interesting because he was at a point to deploy that, which kind of sucks.
yeah,
They killed the bear, which I'm not a fan of because we're in their home, we're
yeah,
invading their space.
yeah, yeah. It's an interesting topic to debate. R.I.P. Harambe type stuff, but um, they don't want the bear getting used to it. So I like get that aspect of it, but at the same time, it's a backcountry deal. You're like, you stepped into his home. You stepped into his territory. It's not like he was at the Old Faithful Lodge chilling and the bear took him out. uh,
Exactly.
this is like off in the back, and you're like, listen, it's a dangerous world out here.
Oh, and what's interesting with bears is I've seen enough videos of bears, coming around people's cabins and cars and just the things, because I live out here in Montana. We got bears on the daily. They almost get startled and run away from you because you open up a door and scare them because they're wandering around your garbage or whatever, like that kind of stuff. So that's why I'm always questioned. But I know in the spring it's a little more because of they're just coming out of hibernation. The cubs are still young. It's not late summer. They haven't been able to fill up on their bellies and get real fat. So that that aspect of it too. Try skipping a meal. You get more aggressive. You get a little bit more mean. You get hangry. Think about a bear. He just went all winter, kind of being hangry.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I fast, so it's like I skip meals all the time.
You're weird. So
No, I mean Yellowstone's a dangerous place, even though it is a very popular place and in general you'll be okay, but understand it is a dangerous place. I mean, you're on top of a super volcano. Like,
it could go any moment. And
yeah.
one of my favorite videos, if you've never been to Yellowstone, is called Super Volcano. Watch it. It's a little outdated because it's from the 2000s. So the quality isn't that great, but the storyline is, essentially where we're at. Experts believe the Yellowstone super volcano is overdue. That meaning the last two eruptions this caldera has had happened during a certain amount of time, and we have now surpassed that certain amount of time. So they don't know when it's going to blow up. They thought it would, and it hasn't. Um, I'm certain that the geysers will tell the story. When Old Faithful doesn't start going off when it should, I think signs like that will happen. But I could also be wrong.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. I watched the video. It's going to scare the living piss out of you.
Yeah. No, I mean, It's what makes Yellowstone unique, is the fact that it's a super volcano. Kind of the closing thoughts on breaking down. We've talked about the park, but the nice part is because Yellowstone is such a popular park, the surrounding areas, there's a lot also in the surrounding area. So you don't just have to spend all your time in the park, even though I highly recommend spending all of your time in the park. You don't necessarily have to. There's Gardner, where you can go like whitewater rafting. There's hot springs up north there. You can go to West Yellowstone. There's plenty of stuff in the West Yellowstone area. Or you can even go south and see another beautiful park known the Grand Tetons. It's literally boards it, so it's like they're beautiful right there. That's another aspect that makes Yellowstone so cool, is there's a lot of surrounding. You can head to the Beartooths too from that north east gate there.
Yeah, you could take the Chief Joseph Highway to Cody, which is also another beaut. What I like about the Tetons is you got the moose. If you really want to go see a moose, the Tetons are a great place to go try and find one of those. I've never not been down there and seen one, which is good. I've lucked out every time. I believe some people probably haven't seen mooses, so I'm sorry for them. But yeah, like that's what I love about this park. Lamar Valley, go see the massive bison herds and get a mere glimpse of what the millions of bison herds out on the Great Plains once looked like. Take the Lamar Valley, fill it up with bison, mountainside to mountainside. They can't move, like they're crowded in there like a crowd pen. That was the bison out on the Great Plains. If you're coming from the grasslands out in South Dakota, North Dakota, Eastern Montana, Wyoming,
Yep.
um,
They
they're just
look just like those people at Old Faithful, just all packed in.
exactly. That's what it used to be in the millions until they hunted them to near extinction. Almost 2,000 in number. And then they put those 2,000 into the park there. And they've been able to grow the herds to where they actually have to kill them off because of the overpopulation, as well as some of the tribes, especially the Montana tribes, have gotten agreements and that will ship some of the bison up to their tribal land. But a lot of farmers don't like that because they believe the tuberculosis, which is a disease the cows get, um, comes from the bison. But every time they test the bison herds in Yellowstone and both on the Indian reservations, no tuberculosis comes up. So it's just farmers being mad because buffalo's better than beef.
Yeah.
I have to say that,
Well, yeah, no, and I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you. More on the management, but that's a different story. That's a different topic.
That's a different breakdown.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't think we'd get a lot of listens for that breakdown.
No.
That's not as much of a fun topic as talking about like Yellowstone or the adventures we do.
No, that's the special episode. You get Matt, because Matt has very good ties in the Native American community. He knows his bison culture really well, and would talk about it. And he would just go on a 1 hour soap that would turn into something else, which we can't wait to bring you when he comes on as a guest, because with Matt Bunny, anything's possible.
Yeah. No, when he comes back on, it'll be fun. But anyways, I've got to be the guy because I am always the guy, and we're at that point. It's time to start wrapping up this episode. So that was our breakdown of Yellowstone National Park. If you haven't checked it out, make sure to check out the breakdown of Glacier. Make sure to check out any of our park reviews that we've done. We've done Olympic National Park. There's been a Wandering Ways review. We have one even on, I think it's the last week's episode. There's a little mini one on there too. So make sure to check that episode out as well. Check out all of our stuff. But anyways, to finish, kind of roll this in, we're going to go into our final words. So any final words, my man?
Summer is starting to fall upon us, even though just yesterday it was snowing here in Billings, April 19th, for those of you who don't know. It was still snowing here in Billings. if you follow any of our social medias, you'll be able to see um, a lot of the stuff we do and where we live and the adventures we go on as they happen. So check those out for sure. But go find your park, go find your Yellowstone. I love Yellowstone. I find the times to go there and go to the places in the park that I want to spend the time in. If you have the ability to do that in your park or even in Yellowstone, I drove up to the Lamar Valley for a day. I mean, I've done this multiple times and just hung out in the Lamar Valley and then drove the Beartooths back home. I woke up 11 o'clock, left Billings, got to the Lamar Valley, 1, 2 o'clock, had lunch, hung out, sunset started to happen. I took the Beartooths home, ran into some mountain goats on top of the Beartooths all by myself, 12,000 feet up, just loving life. Do that. Find your park.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Um, I love it. I love it. Reverend's final words of wisdom, stay beautiful, everybody. I can't tell you how much we appreciate you guys listening, commenting, sending us your top fives, all that kind of stuff. Special shout out to Everyday Backpacker. Make sure you check him out. His stuff is fantastic. I really can't tell you that enough. Anyways, my main final words from the Reverend today. I was watching Planet Earth or Seven Worlds One Planet earlier today, and man, we got to take care of this planet, man. We got to do something. The oceans, the forests, climate change, all that. We got to take care of it. This is the Earth is our home. Yeah, you have your home, right? Your little property that you bought, but the Earth is also our home. So take care of it like you would your own home, because it's just a bigger place. Maybe it's a little harder to clean up because it is so big, but every little thing can help out. But anyways, that being said, peace out, everybody.
Bye.